This is After the Gridiron, podcast featuring interviews with retired football players. If you're a fan of After the Gridiron, make sure you subscribe to the show to ensure that you won't miss an episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Symphonies. Symphonies is an online store that provides custom clothing and accessories. They have a number of quality products available at affordable prices. They offer custom, unique, funny, and inspirational products that you won't find anywhere else. So go to www.symphonies.ca to shop for your next purchase. As a special offer for our listeners, enter promo code GRIDIRON to get 15% off your purchase. So there's no excuse not to check it out. Again, that's www.symphonies.ca. Symphonies. Great products, great prices. All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Lyle Green, and today we have as our guest Mike Morreale. Mike is a 12-year CFL veteran. He played for the Toronto Argonauts and Hamilton Tiger Cats. He was a second-round pick, number 17 overall in the 1994 draft. He was a two-time Grey Cup champion in 1996 and 99, and was actually the most outstanding Canadian in the 99 Grey Cup. He's also most outstanding Canadian in the league for the CFL in 1998 as well. And he played at the University of McMaster, and in 2000 was the Tom Pate Award winner. Tom Pate Award winner is given out to the CFL player for community work and their work on the field as well. So a very accomplished player on and off the field. So Mike, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure, Lyle. How have things been going?
Good, very good. I can't complain. So just to start off the show, we always start off at the beginning of how you got started in football. So tell our listeners how you got started in football.
Yeah, I was kind of a late to football. I played a lot of soccer growing up, about 16 years of soccer. When it was time to play junior football, I never met the size requirements at that time, so I just never ended up playing. And it kind of upset me that I didn't get the opportunity to play early, but I didn't know any better and went to Cardinal Newman High School. And in grade 9, my dad had me sit out until grade 10 until he thought I was maybe a little bit bigger and stronger and ready to play. So I didn't start my football career until grade 10. And really a lot of my love and desire for football came from watching, I didn't watch my dad, but my dad played at St. Mary's University, played at high school here in Hamilton. But my cousins, Paul and Christian Masadi at that time, who were a few years older than me, Paul was playing for the Argos and Christian was playing for the Eskimos. So that to me was a great kind of motivating factor to try and do something like they did.
Okay. So did you play other sports growing up? I guess before you started football.
Yeah, lots of basketball, lots of soccer. Never got into hockey. Yeah, hockey wasn't my thing. All my buddies played, but for whatever reason, I never fell in love with it. So I kind of turned my attention to the other summer sports, and then football, like I said, was later on.
Okay, cool. And then moving on to university, playing at the University of McMaster. How did you end up deciding on going there for football?
Well, that's interesting because I was at the time getting some invites to go down East Coast. Sonny Wolf from Acadie and a few other coaches were kind of recruiting me, as were some teams in Quebec. And I made my kind of trips, and I went and visited these places. And McMaster being my hometown, I didn't think much of it. I not necessarily wanted to get away, but at the same time, I was never enamored to go to Mac because I didn't know much about it. And then I went on a recruiting trip, and the coach at the time, Steve Bruno, who was just a tremendous recruiter, spent a lot of time in Mount Allison before he came to Mac. He recruited me heavily for years and years and years, and until I made that trip to visit the campus, I fell in love with it. And then I found out some of the other guys that were in the same recruiting class and guys that I played against in Hamilton. I thought, you know what, this would be a great opportunity to to play with these guys, the peers, and also to stay in town and take advantage of that as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure your parents are happy with your decision to stay close to home.
They were good. You don't think about it when you're just a university kid, but now that I have kids, I think, yeah, it'd be kind of neat to have your kids stay local and be able to watch them and kind of cheer them on. So I guess without saying it, they were happy that I stayed around.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Yeah, me as well with with my son. It's something that thinking about that and him going to university, it would be nice to have him stay local or somewhere close by that we can be able to watch him and cheer him on and be close to him for sure. All right, so you were a second round pick in '94. How did that come about? Did you go to the combine? Did they have a combine then? And how did that process go for you in getting drafted in
Yeah, I did
'94?
go to the combine. I went to the combine in '94. I actually put my name into the draft early. I was drafted after my third season at MAC, and at that time, the ratio for the CFL was dropping from 10 Canadians to 7. So I wanted, they were discussing that for the following year, so I wanted to get my name in there early, and I thought I could compete at the next level. I came off a really good year at McMaster, and I thought, what the heck? So I was very fortunate to get selected to go to the evaluation camp in Winnipeg that year, and even more fortunate to get drafted. As high as I did, based on the fact I was a third year guy. So, I look back at those times as, just a lot of hard work went into that. And I guess the payoff was being able to go to the camp and get drafted and also go to the camp and meet some of these, future stars of the CFL as well.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. So you decided to go early because of the ratio change that was coming up. Is that
Well,
why?
I thought it was, that it might be a good opportunity to put my name in. I didn't see that there was anything to lose at that time, that if it didn't work out for me, I could come back to MAC for my fourth year and still have another opportunity to be picked up as a free agent. And even if I had to go to my fifth year, so it just afforded me some more opportunities, just in case. But truthfully, that reduction of the ratio, in my mind, was a big thing, because it meant that I wanted to get on the radar sooner than later, because that would have meant the loss of quite a large amount of national jobs or Canadian jobs.
Oh yeah, definitely. With the ratio change from three players less would definitely make a huge impact in who makes and doesn't make the teams. All right, so talking about your career, you won a couple Grey Cups and outstanding Canadian awards. And how was the experience of winning the Grey Cup, and what kind of led you and propelled you to your success as a Canadian receiver?
Well, I think as far as my success as a receiver, a lot of it, funny enough, I think I learned on the soccer field. I played goalie or keeper in soccer, and I think I learned maybe, not knowing it at the time, but I learned a lot of my hand-eye coordination and the ability to catch the ball and get up to make plays on the ball as a soccer player that I think, allowed me to do something similar playing professional football. But I originally went out as a quarterback in high school. Then one day showed up to practice and couldn't throw the football. And I got just moved to receiver, and kind of the rest is history. So my success came from obviously, having some level of talent, but more for me, it was about always trying to be kind of the smartest person on the field. So I knew I wasn't going to outrun the majority of the guys, the majority of the DBs, but I knew that I could position them well. I knew I can get the right position. I can make the tough catch, and I could take a hit. And I also knew what the rest of my teammates were doing and recognized defenses. And that to me allowed me to play as long as I did, and to be, as successful as I was. And it's funny, you look back after the fact, and I appreciate the success I have, but I also look back and say, you know what? I probably missed out on being even better. I think when you're done, you look back and you appreciate certain things, and the other things you think, if I just worked a little bit harder or did something better or trained differently in the off season, that could have taken me from, what I was able to do to even greater. But that's just, I don't think about that too much. I really think about the fun time I had with my teammates and the games we won and the championships more than anything.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, as competitors and as athletes, there's always something we feel we can always improve. And as we look back on our careers and think, if I trained a little bit harder here, or if I made that catch there, I could have won this game, or we could have made that playoff run or stuff like that. So there's always little bits and pieces of our careers that we always think we can improve. But when you look back, it's definitely better to look back on the positive things and the time with our teammates and the championships and the wins that
No doubt.
we celebrate with our friends. Yeah, for sure. All right, so in 2000, you also won the Tom Pate Award. What kind of things were you doing off the field as well in the community?
Well, playing in Hamilton especially was important to me because I'm from there. Grew up there, went to school there, went to university there. So, getting into the community was something I actually learned from my parents. They were always the types of individuals, as were my grandparents, that gave back to the community, and it just came natural. So I didn't even think twice about it. I knew that playing football afforded me some sort of level of, I guess, stardom, for lack of a better word. That people were interested in getting my autograph or listening to what I had to say. So you can go one of two ways with it. You can either take advantage of it for good reasons, or you just kind of ignore it and nobody gets to appreciate it, or I guess use it in the wrong way. So I always felt like if I could be someone that inspires someone else in one way or another, that I would do that. So being a Hamiltonian, playing in Hamilton, like I said, it became natural. And then I knew the causes in the community that meant something to me as well. So always was and still am a big proponent to not only what you do on the field or on the court, but what you do off of it is probably more important.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely have a big platform as pro athletes, and people, whether you like it or not, will always look up to us, and we have an opportunity to give back and to make a difference in our community. And when guys like you that do stuff like that, it's great for the game and great for the community to have people like you around that take the time and make the effort to help out and give back. So it's a great thing that you were doing there in the area in Hamilton.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move. Yeah, no problem. So let's talk about. I didn't get a chance to talk about the Grey Cup. So you mentioned winning Grey Cups in '96 and '99, one with Toronto, one with Hamilton. Talk about those experiences. You had some great teams. No, the '96 team was pretty loaded, and um, I think '99 as well. So talk about the experiences of winning the Grey Cups.
Oh, they were just. I mean, that's the pinnacle, right? That's why you play the game. So in '96, I was still a young guy. I was still only a second year, kind of situational player. Played a lot of special teams. Lucky enough to get into the Grey Cup to play about half the back end of the game because we had some receivers go down. Was on the field when Jimmy the Jet Cunningham kind of slide into the end zone. After his long punt return, I was there to slide right into him. Still a kind of a moment I'll never forget. And more than anything, more than winning, the winning was the icing on the cake. And playing with guys like Doug Flutie and Vanderjagt and Paul Massotti and you name it was outstanding. But the fact that the game was in Hamilton, to me was like, I couldn't have imagined at that point in my career. I wasn't wearing the black and gold. I was wearing the Argo colors, but I couldn't have got any closer to being, to feel like I won the Grey Cup as a Ticats. Playing at Ivor Wynne and the snow falling and the tremendous game back and forth. It was just a experience I won't forget. And my hard part now is wearing the Toronto ring around Hamilton. That I rarely do because people notice and they don't like it. So I tend not to do that. But was fortunate enough after moving to Hamilton in '97, we had a disastrous season, and then in came Darren Flutie and Danny McManus, and we had the biggest turnaround in CFL history at the time. Went from 2-16 to 11-5-1 in '98. Went to the Grey Cup, and lost on a last-second field goal against Calgary. So that was exciting to get there, but it was painful not to be able to pull it off. So as we went to the '99 season, our only goal was to go back to the Grey Cup and win, and it just so happened we made it, and we made it against Calgary again, this time in BC. And it was a game that we knew we were going to win. We just knew we had the experience from the previous year that we were going to use as to our advantage. We had a group of guys that have played together for another year that believed in one another, and we thought we were a better team. So we rose to the occasion and pretty handily beat Calgary that day in BC. And that single moment of hoisting the Grey Cup as a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats is, to me, the greatest achievement as far as sports goes in my career, because that was something I dreamt about as a kid my whole life. I mean, there was nothing better than that.
Yeah.
That would never happen to me. So those experiences all wrapped up into one. I mean, are something you can never forget.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I know from my experience winning in 2006, when you hold up that cup and you have the confetti coming down and the crowd just going crazy, it's just and all your teammates around you and all the celebrations is just memorable and things that you'll never forget for the rest of your life. And for you to be able to do it for your hometown team and to also win it in your hometown as well, it's must be an amazing feeling, amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, it certainly was.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about your transition out of football. You did play for 12 years, so you played quite a long time. But as years go on, your body starts to hurt a little bit, and things start to happen, and you're not as fast, and things tend to happen in your career, and maybe you start thinking about what to do after football. So for you, how's the experience? How was the transition out of football? Was it something you were planning for? Was it something that kind of hit you all of a sudden? What was your experience transitioning?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're ever really prepared. Very few times, as we all know, we don't get to go out on our own terms. So, at the same time, I
Yeah.
knew I had played a long time. I knew I was in my 13th training camp. So actually, my 14th training camp, if you count my first one in BC. But so I knew I probably had one more year in me. But it just wasn't in the cards that year in training camp. Not only myself but Rob Hitchcock were asked to kind of I refer to as kind of forced resignation. I don't know if you forced retirement.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was not by lack of effort on our part or skill. I think at that point they just wanted to change the direction, and they had a brand new organization, brand new president, brand new GM, brand new coach. And even though the coach had been telling us for the whole off season that we were the guys, I just think with the draft picks they had, they just wanted to go in a new direction. So that was tough. But I was very fortunate, unlike most people, that when I retired, I stepped right into a role still in football, and that was as the vice president of marketing for the Players Association. And I had been involved with them as a player rep and I was executive member during my playing time. So it was an easy transition for me, made a lot of sense. But at the same time, it's not football, it's totally different, and you kind of have your learning curve.
Yeah.
But staying close to football was important. And then eventually that morphed into becoming president of the Players Association. So I didn't really kind of retire from football, if you call it, until like 2014. So when I look at it then, that was the hardest transition because you've spent so much of your life in one kind of area of expertise. So then now at that time, I'm a lot older and I'm in my 40s and, I'm looking around saying, okay, what do I do now? You got to kind of reinvent yourself. So for me, it was a chance to kind of try some different things in that time period until I landed where I am now. I think sometimes all the effort you put in, you get lucky sometimes and things land in your lap, but it's not for the lack of hard work and effort.
Yeah, definitely. After being involved in the game for so long, and a lot of guys they'll try and find a way to stay involved in the game, whether it's the broadcasting or coaching or those type of things, but not everyone gets that opportunity. But at some point you might have to switch and to do something totally different and away from the game. And unfortunately for you, found some things that you enjoy and like to do outside of football. So let's now talk about kind of what you're doing now and what you're involved with right now.
Yeah, it's what I'm involved in now is rather interesting. I'm the CEO of the brand new pro basketball league that's getting set to launch next May across Canada. So we'll have teams in Abbotsford, BC, in Saskatoon, in Edmonton, in Guelph, Niagara, and Hamilton. And we will be the first ever professional FIBA regulated league. FIBA rules. We'll be working with Canada Basketball, clearing all our players, and using their officiating standards. We'll play in major arenas across the country, and we'll play with a high contingent of Canadian basketball players. And really, if you look at kind of where basketball has taken off in this country, we are, sometimes the talk of the NBA on a nightly basis, which with all the players playing there. We have numerous 160 plus players playing internationally overseas, and 100 in the NCAA and several hundred in youth sports. So great opportunity to kind of build the legacy of Canadian basketball.
Oh, for sure. Definitely basketball is definitely taken off in Canada, and it's huge right now. And like you said, there's players all over the NBA and NCAA and overseas as well. And it's definitely taking its foothold in the Canadian culture for sure. So, how did you get involved with it? How did that come about?
Well, actually, through another business. It was through a job I was doing with the gentleman who's the founder of the CBL, who was the money behind it, and we got talking. He owned another team in another league and wasn't happy with the direction that was going. And he had brought me in to talk about it because he knew my background in sport and with the Players Association. And that led to more discussions about, okay, if you're going to build a league, how would you do it? How would you effectively run one? And then we just started brainstorming and talking. He just tasked me, okay, put it down on paper. Let's see what we can do. And then I did that. We saw the value in it. We kind of said, okay, listen, if we want to do it, it's going to cost this. It's going to take a lot of time. We got to hire the right people. And to his credit, he said, all right, it's yours to run. And he kind of handed over the reins, and the rest is history. And he's been very hands-off in the whole process, very excited about what we're doing. But in his mind, he's hired the right people to do it. And in turn, I hired smarter people than me. And I think that's the only way you really are successful. You surround yourself with people that are a lot smarter than you.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. So how's this league and how are you positioning the league? Is it going to be kind of like a feeder league to the NBA, or do you have any association with the NBA, or is it kind of like the CFL model where it's just a separate league where players might have a chance to move on after? How's the league positioned?
Well, the league is really kind of fulfilling a gap that exists in the marketplace. So it's a professional league that will battle and align themselves with some of the top international leagues around. So if you look at international basketball across the world, it's massive. And for whatever reason, it just never took a hold in North America because of the strength of the NBA. So we will get players that play in other international leagues. We'll get players that are stars at youth sports or stars in the NCAA. We'll get players that play for the G League, which is the NBA Developmental League. And we'll fill that kind of niche where we can bring back some of our Canadian stars and showcase some international stars. But at the end of the day, just provide good high-level basketball and opportunities for the next wave of Canadians to go to the NBA or wherever they want to go.
Yeah, it's great that all these Canadian players will have another outlet to be able to play the game they love, and to be able to do it at home here in Canada is an amazing thing, and a really great thing that you're starting here. And yeah, I'm just wondering as well, for the listeners, you said it's starting in next May. Is that when it's starting?
Yeah, May 2019.
So starting May 2019. So how are the teams going to be structured? So is there like a ratio like in the CFL as how many players per team? How does that work?
There is. We took a lot of the CFL model. We started with a governance model like the MLS in our single entity ownership, so we own the league and then all these teams. So we did that to keep the brand strong and consistent. And then we kind of looked at the CFL model and said, okay, we love the way that we do utilize our Canadian talent, but let's make it even better. And instead of only 7 out of 24 players, let's say a small percentage of 30% of the team being able to play, let's use a higher number, and we have 10-man rosters. 7 out of the 10 players will be Canadian. which means that at least 2 Canadians will be on the court at any given time. And then in addition to the 10-man roster, we're going to have a 2-man developmental roster, which will most likely be your local developmental kids that are, close to kind of rising to the next level, maybe just some competition and practicing with, older pros may give them that lift that they need.
Oh, very nice. That's good. All right. So, for the league, do you have players and everything? Is everything all put together? Is there tryouts that have to go about, or how far along are you guys in preparations?
Yeah, so we have quite a Rolodex of players already. So all players will go to a CBL player pool, and then from there we will collectively, as a league and as the coaches and coaching staff, will select players out of those lists and from other various means as well. But it is a situation where we are still in the process of hiring all our coaches. So we have one hired, we got another one soon hired on the way, a lot of discussions happening. Most of our player signings probably won't take place until February to April, although the interest has been tremendous. So as we get a little bit closer or further into the new year, we'll get an opportunity to release some of those names also.
Okay, nice, very nice. Yeah, it's definitely exciting to be able to be on the cusp of this new league and to see how it's going to grow and develop. And I'm definitely going to head out to a game when in Abbotsford for sure and see and check it out and see what the league's all about. And hopefully Canadians across Canada will go out and support this new league as well.
Thank you. Wow, I appreciate it. It'll be something that's we're really going to put a lot of effort behind, not only the basketball, which will be great, high quality, but also the entertainment value around it. So I appreciate you coming out, and hopefully you'll be a return customer.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. All right, so let's go to our top of the mountain moment. So we have looking back on your football career and journey so far, and what you've went through. Is there any favorite memories, favorite stories? Is there advice for younger players, or anything that you want to share in regards to that?
Well, I mean, I really believe, even though now that I'm involved in running a basketball league, football was and still in my mind is one of the greatest team sports anywhere. You get to meet and play with people, in our case when we play professional, from all over North America, different parts of the world, different backgrounds, different cultures. You share a locker room, you share travel on the road, you share the game day experience. I mean, those are lifelong friendships I will never ever forget, and there are many stories to tell. Probably not too few that either one of us can share appropriately, but on air, exactly. We've all met our share of characters. Maybe one or two of us have been that also along our career, but it is I have many great memories, many great laughs, and good times that I'll never forget.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great interview. And for those that want some information on you and the new league and anything that you want to share, where would they contact you? What's the best place to contact you?
Yeah, best way is to visit the website at www.cebl.ca, and then from there you can have links to all the rest of our teams, or any of the teams that are in your area. And there's tons of contact information there. There's ticket information. Our schedule is out for each team. So, that's the best way. And certainly I appreciate the time and all the chat about not only my career, but what I'm doing now. And I wish you the best of luck in the future with everything you're doing there, Lyle.
Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. And thanks again for coming on the show. And you'll have to catch up next time you're out here in BC.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike. Thanks again. Take care.
No problem. Take care, Lon.
Thank you for listening to After the Gridiron. If you're a fan of the show, please make sure you subscribe to the show and also leave a rating and review. By doing that, you also help to spread the word about the podcast and assist others in finding the show, so more people can enjoy this great content. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. with the links to those being found on the website. Your support is very much appreciated. Also, please visit the resources page on the website for links to our sponsors and affiliates. Your support helps to keep the show running, so go to www.atgridiron.com/resources to check them out. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you when we kick off our next episode.